Yeah, their personal emotional needs, right? And using the Socratic sales method, which is what we talked about last week, you can get to those rapidly. You know, asking the right questions, knowing how to extract those from the person, from the individual, and get to the heart of what it is that's going to make them most likely to buy because you're solving their problem. And that's really what this is all about, is making sure that we get to the questions, solve their problem, make sure that our solution fits, and that way we can bridge the gap between what it is emotionally that's going to drive them to respond to the product that we have to fit that need.
And I was looking forward to the possibility of going through the whole thing with a venture capitalist contact of mine. But he postponed the idea of doing the web videos until the new year. So I'll just brush up on that, and then
that saves you a presentation, you know. And that's really, we're going to talk about that this evening as well. Is like don't present until it's time.
Right.
So we're going to talk about that. First thing we do every time, setting a positive emotional state. Try to connect with a moment in time where you can recall now, or even imagine accomplishing something that you're really, really excited about, and seeing yourself do it, hearing the crowd, hearing the people tell you how great you did, and actually what that's going to feel like, and step into that moment now, and just really set that anchor, and really connect with that before we get started. And just take a second, and then whenever you begin to feel it, whenever you begin to know you're there, just crank it up. Just like step into it a little bit more and just be like, no, I am there. I can do this. I am very good at whatever it was that I could accomplish. And then we're going to take that momentum on into the lesson. So just take a second, connect with that. Make sure that you're set there. You can do anything that you set your mind to do. You can accomplish it. And while we learn this evening, it's going to become unconscious, because that's how easy it is for you to learn whenever you're in a positive emotional state, mentally prepared and ready to go. Okay? Good? Mm-hmm. Set that, and then let's go. All right, keys to closing. There are 3 steps. Step 1 is always the same step you're always going to take no matter what technique I teach you. You're always going to have the same step 1, okay? And that's creating a well-formed outcome. You guys remember what the well-formed outcome is?
No.
How do we create a well-formed outcome?
Positive emotional states first.
Right? It's the pure model.
Right.
Okay? We'll go into that in a minute. Step 2 is going to be decision makers. Make sure the decision maker is in the room. We're not ever going to take a meeting until we know the decision maker is there. Okay? When the decision maker is there, we're going to set a Mayo. We're going to talk about what a Mayo is. I borrowed that from Robert Johnson. He's the master at this. I did not know this part of the sales process without Robert. This was fantastic. It changed my life. And so now I teach it. And I borrowed it from him, and he knows I use it because it is fantastic. And when I say borrowed, I mean I straight up stole this thing from him. I was like, that is fantastic, and I'm going to use it. Finally, personal emotional needs. That's what we're going to get to. Again, you're going to confirm that all the personal emotional needs that you extracted in the interview process while you were trying to get to what they're looking for in sales, before you present, you confirm, because something could have changed. Okay? So we want to make sure that we confirm, are these still the needs? What's changed, okay? And then finally, the magic question closers. We're going to talk about what are the magic questions and how do you get to an answer. And that sometimes is going to be a no. That's fine. A no is great. No means good. Yeah. Now I can get the hell out of here and go work on a sale that I am going to get. Mm-hmm. Okay? So people think no is bad, no is good. I'll think it over is bad. Yeah. Let me give you a call next week is bad. Let me get back to you is bad. No is good. Okay? So we'll talk about that. But first, let's go into a well-formed outcome. What does the P stand for?
Positive emotional state.
Positively. It's close.
Positively.
We're creating a goal.
Emotion.
We're creating an outcome. So what's most important? It's going to follow the pure model. So what's the most important aspect of
positively stated?
Positively stated. And what does that mean, Daniel?
It means that we're phrasing it as a yes and not a no when we say it. Like, you do want this, not you don't want something else.
And that's what we're doing to ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. This is what we do before we go into the meeting. We create a positively stated, well-formed outcome that we want. What do I want to accomplish? Now, let me give you an example. I've got a friend named Brandon. He is the men's mindset coach at Rogers State University for the soccer team. Okay? So the men's soccer team. He practices Neuro-linguistic Programming. He has his master's degree in psychology. He and I sometimes will talk shop. We'll even go out and do magic tricks and hypnosis in public and stuff like that just for fun. But one of the things he told me is that inevitably, if he has a kid who all of a sudden develops, and I say kid loosely, these are young 20-year-old guys, they're men. But if he has an athlete who all of a sudden develops this mental block, he'll ask them, what are you saying to yourself right before you go to kick the ball? What do you say to yourself right before you mess up? What's going through your head? And inevitably, the kid's like, I'm telling myself, don't screw up. Don't mess up. Don't mess this up. Don't miss. Don't shank it right. Don't shake it left. And every single time, when the kid inevitably goes and messes up, it's because what is he running through his head?
Negatively stated out.
That's right. It's a negatively stated outcome. It is what he wants.
It's a negative projection.
But it's a negative projection of what he wants. So what do you think Brandon does?
Doesn't hit it where he wants it. He probably does that. He probably hits it right if he doesn't want to hit it right.
Right, yeah, exactly. So whenever Brandon comes in to help them coach and coaches their mindset and helps them change that narrative, what's going through their head, what model do you think he gives them?
So he's going to give them this, and he's going to say, think about where you want it to go.
And so what are you going to say to yourself now?
Kick it there.
I'm going to kick it, follow through.
Yeah.
Right. Make sure I kick all the way through. The ball is going to go in directly to the center of where I want it. As I kick it, the ball is going to go directly where I want it.
Right.
So he starts
complete control of the path, the trajectory.
That's right. The ball will go where I decide to hit it.
Yes.
Exactly where I decide to hit it, and nowhere else. So Brandon changes it, and what plays out in their mind? Instead of don't mess up, what happens when they say, I'm going to kick it where I want to kick it?
They probably kick it where they want to kick it.
That's right. Yeah, because instead of visualizing the negative, they're focused on the positive, and that's what's playing out in their mind. See, whenever I was in high school, I was I wouldn't have won state, but I was a very, very good discus thrower. And if I had had this model back then, I would have made it past district. But whole time on that district track meet, don't screw up, don't scratch, don't scratch, don't scratch, and I did it time and time again. So I wish I had known this stuff back then. That's okay. When you learn it, apply it, right? So positively stated, we want to say what we do want, not a negation of what we don't want. Okay? What's the next thing? The U.
Universally applied? Understood.
That's not a bad guess. Under
my control.
So those kids, whenever they're thinking about where they're going to kick the ball, are they thinking about what they want anyone else to do?
They probably are, but they shouldn't be.
Correct. So they can't control that person's behavior whether they want to or not. So whenever they're telling themselves what they want to do, they're telling themselves what they want to do. I'm going to kick the ball there. Now that goalie may just be a badass and may jump in front and still get it, right? But as long as it went where they wanted it to go, that's what matters. Right? So whenever we're setting a goal, can we control a really good goalie? No. That's not the point. The point is to give yourself the best possible advantage. So whatever goal we're creating, whatever well-formed outcome, while we're learning this tonight, we're focused on positively stated what I do want, under my control. I can't control whether or not somebody else says yes, but I can control what I do. I can control my mindset. I can control my demeanor. I can control my body language. I can control my posture. I can control how focused I am on paying attention to their language patterns, to their eye movements, to their breathing. I can control all of that. I can't control ultimately whether they say yes. That's not the point. But I'm going to give myself every advantage I can. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it's under my control. What's the R stand for?
I wrote it all down last week so I wouldn't have to remember it.
That's okay.
I got it off those notes.
Realistically stated?
Realistic, with the focus on the real. Okay? Edward, what kind of vehicle do you drive?
A 2011 Honda Accord.
2011 Honda Accord. What color is it, Daniel?
No clue.
You don't know. Why don't you know?
Because he didn't say it.
That's right. In my head, it was silver.
I did say it quietly.
Oh, did you? What was it?
Navy blue.
Navy blue. Okay. So now we know that it's a navy blue 2011 Honda Accord. What else do we know about it?
That's it.
I don't know what kind of interior does it have.
Gray seats.
Gray seats. Did you know that?
No.
Me neither. Was that car real at all to you before we started talking about it?
I don't even know what a Honda Accord
looks like.
Well, there you go. See, so we even need more, right?
Yeah.
So in order for this to be real for you, you would need a whole lot more,
Yeah.
right? So if we're creating a well-formed outcome, what does it need for it to be real?
Details.
Details, that's right. What type of details?
Pertinent ones.
Explanatory ones.
Which ones did we just come up with? Color, which is
Concrete
Yeah.
details.
concrete. So what are we talking about right now?
Stuff we're touching, or I guess,
Descriptors.
yeah.
Descriptors, yeah.
Descriptive details.
Visuals.
Visuals, yeah.
We're giving ourselves visuals. What about, do we know how it sounds? The horn,
Mm-hmm.
the engine, when we're riding in it, how it sounds on the road. So it has sounds. The more real something is, we can hear it, right? We're using our senses. So it's got sounds attached to it. When you're creating a well-formed outcome, when you're sitting down to think, what do I want to happen? Positively stated, if you're not creating real visuals, real sounds connected with it, it's not real. You haven't created a real outcome yet. Okay? Finally, kinesthetics. How does the interior feel? How does it feel when I'm grabbing the steering wheel? How many ridges are on that steering wheel? How many dials are on the panel? Whenever I'm turning it, how does it feel? Is it hard to turn it or is it smooth? Does it click and have clicks or does it just an easy, steady, smooth dial? So that all of these things matter to make it more real, right? The more there is to it. When I go to click it in, is it an easy click to get that seatbelt in there or is it kind of hard? All of these things are things that make this more real, right? And then we're just talking about a car, but what if we're talking about an outcome? What do you need for it to be real? Same stuff.
Same stuff.
Same exact stuff. How's it going to feel? How will I feel? What's my shirt going to feel like on my back? How's it going to feel whenever I'm sitting in the chair having this conversation? Make it real. Play it out in your mind. Okay? Every aspect of it. And the more real it becomes to you, the more when you get in that situation, you'll have already been there. In your mind, you'll have already done this thing. So are there any surprises that come at you whenever you already have a very real outcome? Doesn't matter what plays out in between. All I want is the end game. I'm having a very specific outcome. I don't care the details that happen in the middle here. They can go every which way but loose. That end is what I'm worried about. Okay? Positively stated, under my control, realistic, because this is the outcome, the goal. Finally,
Economically.
close.
Environmentally.
That's very close.
Sound.
Ecologically. Yeah. Ecology. Focus on ecology. Or ecologically balanced.
And that's where all parties win.
That's right. All parties win. You, them, your family, everything that your brain could possibly attach to, your environment, everybody's a winner. That way, you're not sitting there second guessing yourself, telling yourself you're a bullshit artist, you can't really provide what you're saying you can provide, you're not really going to help these people as much as you're saying you're going to help them. None of that matters because you've already set it up. No, when we get to this end game, if I'm able to produce it like this, it's going to be ecologically balanced. I have no reservations. It's all good. I can sleep at night, no problem. That's how you know it's okay. I can let myself get this. Okay? All right. Very good. Any questions on how to create a well-formed outcome? It's the most important aspect of using neuro-linguistic programming, of learning NLP, of learning sales. All of it is without that outcome in mind, you can forget it. None of this stuff matters. It'll all fall apart. You'll forget it all. You will come unwound in the middle of it because you haven't sat down and figured out what do I want in the end. What I want in the end is all that matters. Everything else, your brain will unconsciously remember all of this stuff and apply it in real time as long as you know the end game. Okay? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Awesome. All right. Three-step keys to closing system. Step number 1, are the decision makers present? When you arrive at the meeting, you should have already asked who all needs to be there in order to make a decision. You should not have even scheduled the appointment unless you made it clear that all the decision makers need to be there because you don't want them doing your job. Let me present my stuff. I mean, you've done a great job. You've done all the research. You've done all the hard work. You need to just sit back and relax while you let me handle while who else is involved in the decision so that I can just present it all to you guys at the same time. And you can make a decision at the same time. Does that sound fair?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So whenever you get to the meeting, if I ask, are all the decision makers present, and they say no, what happens?
We need to not go forward.
And reschedule.
Okay. Hey, that's no problem. I've got what's good for you guys? Next Wednesday, should I send an email, follow-up email, and get everybody included in this? What do we need to do so that I can make sure? Oh no, you can just present to me. I'll fill them all in.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. What do you do? It's all right. You can just present to me. You drove all the way down here.
You reschedule. You shoot for reschedule.
Reschedule.
You could pitch that guy. That guy could be all over the idea, but the other third baseman could just blow it apart.
Or that person may be the very person that's been not wanting you there to begin with and may mess up every bit of your presentation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You are wasting your time to present. You don't present.
Right.
You just say, hey, listen, I don't really give presentations unless I have all the decision makers in the room. I'm happy to do this, but I'm only really going to do it one time. Okay? I'm really only going to do it one time, and that's to make sure that I don't waste any of your company's time. To me, it seems, really, really fiscally like a waste of you guys' time to keep having presentations and having meetings.
And you put it in their court, just wasting their time.
Yeah,
At the same time.
yeah, I absolutely don't want to
At the
waste.
same time,
And
it would also be wasting your time.
And this is a time too. A lot of times I'll go, you can let me know and stop me if I'm wrong, but is this not really that important to all the decision makers? Is this something that's not really something that everybody's really into, right? Oh no! It just was a last minute thing. It just came up. And we didn't want you to feel disrespected. I'm not disrespected at all. Not at all. I get it. Stuff comes up, but I don't want to waste your time, and there's no need to go through the whole. Let's just reschedule. No big deal. Okay? No big deal. And if it's a yes,
Continue to Mayo.
We're going to continue to the Mayo, and we'll talk about the Mayo in a minute. The Mayo is something that is, I want you guys to think about. Whenever they say yes, all the decision makers are present, I want you to imagine a big glob of mayonnaise on the side of their face so that you don't forget the Mayo. And it's almost like you're sitting there going, we got to get this off your face before I can continue. Okay, we got to get rid of this Mayo. We got to get the Mayo out of the way. And we'll talk about what the Mayo is. But just so you have that visual, that'll help you remember.
Okay.
We don't move forward from this point until we get the Mayo off your face. Okay, so we got to go over the Mayo. All right? Next, we're going to hit the personal emotional needs. We're going to revisit them. We already have them from the conversation earlier. We're going to revisit them and double check and make sure that we've got everything right. Okay? We're going to ask, we're not going to assume, and then we're going to ask them what's changed. We're going to ask them, hey, go ahead and remind me again, what were the needs that you guys wanted to solve? Because what I have written down and what I've got here is, you guys said that you're wasting money in X area. You guys said that you're frustrated with not being able to convert here. Is that, you guys let me know, what am I missing? Has anything changed since the last time we talked? Because they might have just gotten hit with a $30,000 tax bill that they didn't see coming. And it's like, actually, yeah, something has changed.
What does MAO stand for? Mutually acceptable?
Mutually agreed agenda and outcomes.
Okay.
Mutually agreed agenda and outcomes. And that's why we're going to talk about it in depth. Is because we cannot move past to the next thing until we get that Mayo off your face. We got to get a mutually agreed agenda and outcome out of the way. Then we're going to move on to personal emotional needs, and then we're going to present the solutions only to the personal emotional needs, and we're not going to introduce any new problems. No new problems. You are not going to come in and be the guru that sees beyond everything at this point. That is not our job at this point. Our job at this point is to go only with what they've told us they want fixed.
Okay.
And we're only talking to that.
Okay.
You'll have to fight the urge to go beyond. Because once you get the deal, once you get the contract, then you can start to help them see that you know a bit more about some of the areas that they could develop in. They trust you at this point. All the hard stuff's done. All the heavy lifting. At that time, and even sometimes that can result in an upsell. But this is not the time. We're only dealing with what they've given us. You have to fight that urge. Don't find more problems at this point. If you wanted to do it back, you did it in the Socratic sales portion, where you looked for more problems. What else is going on? What else do we need fixed? Okay. Magic questions. Right here, don't let me forget, we're going to also introduce a very, very cool model that helps you really get that sale at this point. Magic questions, we're going to revisit the mail after the presentation and go, now remember, we agreed upon this, and we agreed upon this, and we agreed upon that. Are we still good? We all agree? We're going to revisit that. Then you're going to do a 1 to 10 close. We're going to talk about that. If it's under a 6, then we missed something. We need to go back and or we're not the right fit. If it's a 7 or above, in my world, we're moving forward. Okay. And then the next question is, and this is an easy 2-question close. What do you want? Okay. So what do you want me to do? At this point, they will tell you that take my money, swipe my card, write the contract, send the deal over. That's where we're at. Okay? So we'll work through that. But that's the 3 steps. All right, mutually agreed agenda and outcomes. Mutually agreed upon agenda and outcomes. That's the mayo. Once we find out all the decision makers are in the room, what's next? Can't move forward until we get that mayo off their face. Got to get rid of that mayo.
We're on the same page.
Let's make sure we're on the same page. So first of all, how long is my presentation? How much time do I have today? I don't want to waste anybody's time. How long do we have? I want to make sure that I'm in and out of here. Because if you have a high D that's results oriented, he's going to be like 15 minutes.
Yeah, maybe.
Seriously, we need this done now. Okay? Is it okay if I set a timer? I don't want to waste your time. Okay? Getting no out of the way. This is the most important thing. Okay, guys, one thing I got to do, now that all the decision makers are here in the room, I got to ask you, Daniel, if I show you and present to you everything that I've got here that I think is going to solve the needs that you guys presented to me on the phone, and I'm not saying I can, I'm just saying if I do, and I present it all to you, but the budget doesn't work or the solutions aren't exactly what you guys were thinking, are you going to be able to tell me no?
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know?
Yeah, because if it solves everything, then it feels like that you want to figure out a way to make the budget work.
Yeah, but could you tell me no? I mean, if it's absolutely not a fit, if the budget doesn't work, if I don't solve it for some reason, can you tell me no?
Then yes, we would tell you no.
Okay, you can tell me no. You don't have, how does that work for you? Do you just like, are you one of those guys that can just say, no, it's not a fit, or is that hard for you to say that, or?
For me personally?
Yeah.
I typically approach it from either better explaining what it was that missed the mark.
Okay. But you
wouldn't
wouldn't just flat out say no.
I would never just say no, get out of here. It'd be
Okay.
like,
You would
no,
be nice about it, but you're going to be able to say, hey, it's not a fit.
Mm-hmm.
Is that? I mean, could you just say it's not a fit for us?
Yes.
Okay. What about you, Edward? If I get through this whole presentation and it's not the right budget, it's not the right product, whatever.
I have a harder time.
Could you tell me no though?
Yeah, I think so.
You could tell me no. How would you do that
I
in
have
your
a
world?
harder time, I think.
Sure. In your world, how would you do that? Could you just be like, is that okay? Just like this? Or like the emperor? Could you just be like,
guillotine?
yeah? I mean, is there something that we could agree upon now where you wouldn't feel bad? I'm not going to feel bad.
Okay.
Is there something we could agree upon where you could tell me no?
This is not a fit.
Would that work for you?
Yeah.
That works for me.
Okay.
So if we get to the end of
This
this,
is not a fit, or at least maybe it's not a fit.
if I get to the end of my presentation then, for whatever reason, it's a no,
Yeah.
you're going to say,
It's not a fit.
okay, cool, that's fine. I just want to make sure you feel comfortable with that. I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable.
Okay.
You're okay with that? Cool. Well, let's pretend though that I get through this entire presentation and it comes under the right budget, or it solves all of the problems and it is a perfect fit, or it is a fit. How does that work? How does that look for you?
See, a lot of people I've dealt with in this way, they still want to talk about it after I've left. Like,
Okay.
They don't want to make the decision while I'm on site.
So let me ask you.
They always want to do it. Yeah.
Let's
take a minute, regroup.
If all the decision makers are in the room,
Yeah.
And so what happens whenever you guys break for that? Like, what's the timeline like?
Yeah. And so they probably say what it is and then tell you what.
Yeah. So what are you used to?
So what I'm used to is finish the presentation, ask for any questions, ask them what's that timeline look like, knowing that they're going to have.
So we're not going to do the presentation first. I'm doing it now.
Right.
I'm doing it before the presentation.
Right.
So whenever I get to the end of this presentation, if it does fit your needs, or the budget's right, or whatever, what does that look like for whenever you say yes? What's that look like for you guys?
I don't know. I've not gotten it that way.
How about personally? If I were to sell you a
Personally,
car,
when I've been the decision maker, I've been the one to immediately want to say yes, and then wanting to call right after, like just need a minute to talk about it.
So today, I'd hear from you today, probably.
You would, yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I always hate having to put off that sort of thing.
What about for you, Edward? If it's a yes, if I get through my presentation, I show you everything that I've got to offer. If it's a yes, what's that like for you? How does that work?
I don't know, because I'm fighting people pleasing tech.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Right? And that's why I know that.
But if it is a yes, what if you're excited about it?
I've run this in my own business, and I hate when people say, "Well, let me think it over," because that.
Well, I'm asking you.
That means they're going to shop my idea elsewhere.
Sure, and that's why I'm asking you, and I haven't presented yet. Remember, I'm asking you. If I get through my presentation and show you what I do for my business and everything, and you like it and it's a fit, how does that work? Like, how do you say yes? Like, what do I expect to see from you?
You'd expect to see some sort of positive response.
And so, how do we move forward?
I would just want to know that all my concerns or hesitations about
and so if I address
were addressed.
If I address all your concerns and all your hesitations and it's still a yes, then what do we do?
Then we do business.
And how does that work? Do I just get a check or do you swipe a card? How do you normally do that?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Whenever you pay for a business or a service, how do you normally go about that?
Check or credit card.
Check or credit card?
Price.
I do both. Well, let's say the price works.
Well, unfortunately, I've got an irrevocable trust, and I've got to deal with them, and that's a pain in the rear because because these people
but you have an idea in your mind of what you've got available. So let's say it works and everything, and it's within the budget, and I've addressed all your concerns, and you're ready to move forward.
Yeah.
How are we going to do it?
I would first share everything you shared with me with the Darren Trust.
Okay.
Because they're fiduciaries and lawyers.
Yeah.
Which is to say, pain in the rear to the second power.
So do we need them? Do we need them here before I go ahead and do the presentation, or?
Quite possibly.
Okay.
If it's like high ticket.
Okay, great. So why don't we just reschedule then?
I don't like it.
Why don't we just reschedule then, and for that time, because I don't want to waste your time here and go through all this stuff if you have to wait.
I see.
See, I've not done a presentation yet.
Yeah.
I've got no off the table.
No, I understand.
I got to the yes, and I found out that even though he thought all the decision makers were here.
I wish I were not in this decision power position, but it is.
But now he's realized not all the decision makers are here.
Yeah.
So now I've just saved us both the experience of going through a presentation. And do I look more or less professional at this point?
I think more so. Because you're respecting not only my time but your own time, and also not circumventing the decision makers.
And have I gone ahead and tried to push the sell on you anyway?
No.
The minute I found out that you can't say yes today?
You said, well, thank you for your time.
Cool. Let's reschedule then.
Let's reschedule.
I'm happy to get together whenever we've all got time.
Yeah, totally respectful.
So let's pretend though that they're all here.
Okay.
And it's a yes all the way around. And I've addressed all your concerns. And it's a yes. How do we move forward?
Let's do it.
We're going to do it?
Yeah.
And so just a check or a credit card, or how do we do it today?
Probably a check.
A check? Okay, cool. So will you guys have a check?
It has to go before committee. I hate this.
So you won't have a check that day?
Not that day.
Not that day. Okay, that's fine. So about when would I expect it then?
Unfortunately, it made only a couple times a month. It's a
Okay.
pain.
Okay, so like on the 15th probably, something like that?
Something like that.
Okay, cool. So if it's a yes and we move forward,
because
then
I'd be feeling embarrassed, and I don't like this. I don't
Yeah.
like this situation.
you wouldn't have to feel embarrassed.
That's why I'm making my pitch for
But
the
so
answers
so
to
in this
project.
portion, remember, I've already given you permission to say no.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
true.
If you ever feel uncomfortable in this and it comes to a point to where you can't say yes, are you okay telling me no?
Yes.
Okay, great. So now I know how you say it's not a good fit. I know how you say no.
I know.
And now I know how we go. Now I know how we move forward, and you say yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now here's the thing, Edward. Have you ever had to be around small kids whenever they're with their parents?
Yeah.
Whenever a parent looks at a kid and says, "I'll think about it," what does that mean?
That means like no.
It means no, right?
Generally speaking, means no.
Hey, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Am I okay with hearing no?
Are you okay with me saying no?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're fine with it.
I'm okay with it, right? So whenever I get to the end of my presentation, will you do me a favor?
Okay.
Will you do me a favor? Can we agree upon something?
Yes.
Will you just tell me no if it's a no? You don't have to say I'll think it over, okay?
Okay.
Don't have to save my feelings. I'm a big boy. I'm okay. Like we can still be friends. We'll go out and have coffee or a beer or whatever, and everything will be fine. Is that okay?
That's okay.
Okay. Just promise me whenever we get to the end of this, don't say I'll give you a call later or I'll think it over, okay?
Okay.
Because I'm okay with hearing no, right?
Okay.
And how does that sound again?
No.
All right. Good. All right. Okay.
No,
So now
it's
we
no, or if it's yes, it's yes.
So now we've taken what off the table?
Indecision.
That's right. At the end of this presentation,
Procrastination.
I'm either going to have a no or a yes.
Cool.
Okay?
So,
All right. So now we've agreed upon this. Let's get to our personal emotional needs. Okay, last time we spoke, or the last time I met with Daniel, we discussed that your main problems and issues were X. Is that still what's going on? You still having problems in that area? How's that making you guys feel? Now that we're talking to them, we're going to get back into the same thing. We're going to reaffirm that everything we checked with them the first time is still correct. Okay? I've got X, and then they're going to say something along the lines of X is the problem. Okay?
yeah.
How's that making you feel? What do you think you're going to hear?
So the way that we do our pitch right now is maybe we have a couple of like informational slides of like, this is our company because one of you knows who we are and the others in the room probably don't know who we are. And then the first real slide is a list of common issues that our thing solves.
Right.
And we ask them, which of these is your problem?
So we can even pull it up. Let's pretend it's here right now.
Yeah.
And we pull it up and then we go, are any of these something that you guys are
that's exactly
experiencing?
what we say is which of these is yours? Tell me about that.
And how's that making you feel?
We haven't phrased it that way, but I can see how, that's maybe the root of it.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to write this down. So you reaffirm that their previous problem is still present?
Yes.
Okay.
Whatever you contacted me for, the reason I'm here today is that's still an issue.
So the previous problem is still an issue?
Yeah. Is that still a problem for you? You guys still messing with that? Man, how long have you guys been messing with that? That's a long time, right?
Or is it still relevant?
It's still relevant, right? Still a problem. I asked, how does that make you feel? That's my terminology for almost anything. How's that problem making you feel? What's that affecting? You know? Then, well, so you and I spoke, Daniel, maybe, what was it, a month ago? We had a conversation. What's changed since then? Have you guys made any changes, fired anybody, implemented anything I should know about? So that, because maybe this isn't a problem anymore.
Right. Typically the answer is that more stuff is broken.
And that's what we want, right? We want them to introduce any more problems because if I have more solutions that can fix those, I became even more of an asset today. Now I know I'm even more in there than I was before I started this presentation, right? So what's changed since our last conversation? What's happened? Positive, negative, whatever. That's whenever you'll get the next thing, the next series.
Well, so that really lines up with what we talked about last week in that initial why are you calling me today, but why today?
Yep.
What specific thing is making you
Yep.
reach out to me.
Yep.
Okay.
And then you're going to find out Y changes and Z changes, either positive or negative. Okay? And if they're positive in a way that you've now worked yourself out of your solution, now we know maybe we're not the right fit anymore. We could try to find out, are there any other areas we can help in? I'm not going to now be addressing X if X was solved by Y. If they already implemented Y and that pretty much fixed the main headache that they were having with X, why am I going to talk about X anymore?
So, if our product, it does one thing, it solves a lot of problems, but it's really accomplishing the same thing, and it's really just the thing that they picked on the first list. We maybe say it a little more. Is it correct, or does it work to more or less tell them that it accomplishes that? Or like, you see what I'm saying? Like, we're going to do this essentially the same thing. We're going to go through. We're going to evaluate the facility. We're going to make all the same recommendations.
Yeah.
Whether they thought that was the issue or not.
Right. But you want them to open the door.
Okay.
And so you can pretend like you're standing at the door. They asked you to come over because their vacuum cleaner broke. Okay? But they since then have found out that it's really affordable to hire a maid.
Right.
And so they've been having a maid come for the past few weeks. They didn't want to cancel the appointment. It seemed rude. You were already coming. But you don't just sell vacuum cleaners.
No, it's true. In this analogy, we literally do sell vacuum cleaners and offer the cleaning solution.
Well, there you go.
Like,
So
we'll have the guy come and do it and fix the vacuum while he's cleaning.
There you go.
Yeah.
So very literally now that they're standing there and going, well, I didn't want to hurt your feelings. I'm sorry. I know you came with the presentation and everything. We wanted to let you get through it. And maybe it might fit, but we don't really have, X isn't as bad as it was when I called you.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Well, you guys know that we do a lot more than just fix X. What other issues are you having right now? Whenever you look at this list of problems that our company normally gets called out to look at, are there anything else on this list that really just stands out and is really causing you guys some frustration right now? And they may give you at that time that X isn't why you're here, Z is why you're here.
And Z is like new conditions.
New conditions. Things have changed since the last time you were here. We were able to fix X with Y. We brought in a maid. But what we need is somebody to trim the hedges. We realize that, we don't really want to do that anymore. Is there anybody that you have? Is there something that you guys do that trims hedges? Because really the hedges are the problem. Okay, so the vacuum cleaner is not the problem. No, not really. Well, okay. I'm not going to talk about the vacuum cleaner anymore then. Let's talk about your hedges. Why are your hedges a problem? How's that making you feel? We're going to go into now whatever it is that they're providing because it could have changed. Their personal emotional needs from the time they called you to the time you come in.
The new ones.
We're just finding out where you're at today.
Okay.
What are your needs today? That's what I'm here for. Because they're going to have them. Everybody's got needs. Okay? And if it's in your industry, it's in your wheelhouse, there's something that you can do to help. And if there isn't, then you're not going to waste your time with a freaking presentation.
Right.
You're going to get out of there because you found out they no longer have a problem with X. And that's what you were going to solve, and now you don't have to waste your time. You're not going to be sad 2 months down the road whenever they're not returning your phone calls because they didn't tell you that X isn't a problem anymore. Okay? So, ask, once you get that established, around the room, all of the decision makers, what is it that you guys want to accomplish here? If you had to tell me, you know what? We're going to go ahead and ask the Magic Genie 3 solutions question. I'm not saying I can, guys. I'm not going to promise you miracles here. I mean, that would be crazy, right? I'm not going to promise you miracles. But let's say I'm a Magic Genie, and I'm not saying I am, but let's say I'm a Magic Genie, and I can snap my fingers, and I can solve 3 problems for you guys before I leave here today. What 3 problems would you guys absolutely want solved? What 3 problems do you absolutely want solved? Today. It's got to happen now. Magic genie. What's going to happen here, guys? What do you think happens?
So they're either going to list out the stuff we've already talked about, which is good because
it's
we paid
confirming
for that.
Yep, it's confirming what we already
They're
know.
going to say that it's something totally different, which is either still in your wheelhouse and you can pivot, or it has nothing to do with you, and you can bring that up and say, clearly we should be talking to someone else because I don't know that
Absolutely.
I'm a yes until you fix these things.
That's right. Yeah. So what if we get like the first thing you're like, yep, I can do that. And then the second thing they're like, okay, I'm gonna need to hear more about that, but let's go ahead and go on. What's the third thing? So let's just say mentally you're keeping track that number 2 is a no.
Yeah.
That's not what I do. I can't fix that really. I mean, as far as what I'm hearing, I can't really fix that. And then number 3 is a yes.
So, in terms of positively stating it, we would say, let's talk about 1 and 3.
Yep.
Let's talk about how we can fix that with
Absolutely.
this.
Absolutely.
Solve that. And then,
How important is 2 to you guys?
I mean, they said it second, so.
Right. So what I do is, now what they've done for me is they're helping me to find out the 3 most important solutions that they want. Now I get to determine how we rank those. So if any of these don't fit, I'm going to start there and go, let me ask you a question. How important is it to you to get number 2 solved today? Is that like on a scale from 1 to 10, which one of these is the most important? Is number 2 the most important thing in the world for you guys today? Is it what you absolutely got to get fixed right now? Oh yeah, that's the main thing. Okay, that's the main thing. Okay, let's set number 2 aside and let me ask you, number 3, the third thing you said, which was blah, 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 blah. How important is that one? Well, now that you mention it, I think it might be more important than the second thing we said. Okay, all right, so it's really important. Okay, cool. And then you said this one, the first one, did you say it first because it's the most important? Is that why? Absolutely.
I'm confused.
That's okay.
The first yes was because you were on target. The no was because you're not on target, or maybe you're the one sorting. I mean,
as the salesperson, you're sorting. You're the one deciding whether or not you can solve 1, 2, or 3.
Okay.
And this was I just threw this out randomly.
Okay.
We don't know whether or not we can solve 1, 2, or 3. I'm just playing scenario.
Okay, so the second no was because I, as a salesperson, not sure
I can solve that.
I can solve their problems, that their problems within my wheelhouse.
Right. Yep.
What's the third yes then?
The third yes is the third thing that they came up with, and I do believe I can solve that.
That's like a new problem?
Mm-hmm.
And
then these are the 3 solutions that they want solved before the end of the day.
So the third
now,
yes
it could be
a new problem
that they could think the one product that you're offering is supposed to solve all 3.
Right.
And what you're doing is determining whether or not you can solve all 3.
But the third yes is basically a new problem to solve?
Or they're trying to relate whether or not you are here to solve this solution.
Right.
I mean, if they need a Xerox machine fixed and that's not at all what you do, and they say we really need our Xerox machine fixed, that's just you can start laughing at everybody together and be like, well, I think you guys know I don't fix printers.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're trying to figure out if my capabilities match their needs.
That's right. And you're the one, as the salesman, trying to figure that out.
And I was saying vice versa. You're trying to make sure that
I'm trying to figure out if my abilities meet their needs.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's what these questions are for, is designed to find out, first of all, how do I close them?
Right.
What are the 3 things that matter most to them? And now I'm going to connect their personal emotional needs back to these 3 solutions over and over again. With my product, I'm going to keep connecting back their needs to these solutions. Over and over and over again. Okay? But this is the sorting process where I determine how important these are. If I can determine that 2's not that important, then I'm not even going to bring it up again. I'm going to focus on 1 and 3. Once they give me the 3, if any of them don't fit what I do, I'm going to find out how important it is. If it's super important and I ignore it, am I a professional or am I an asshole?
You're a jerk.
That's right. But if I discover in this process that it's not that important, that they brought it up because it'd be nice if that got solved, but it's not the most important thing, then is it okay to dismiss it? I mean, I already told them I'm not really a magic genie.
Well, and the way that I've worked around, I haven't done it exactly this way, but yeah, I've had the similar thing. And the way I've usually said it is, if we fixed 1 and 3, you would have the time and resources to fix this other one.
Yeah, or would you have the time and
And
resources?
that's how we've solved it for you, is because now you have time and money you didn't have before.
Yeah, if I took care of the first problem you guys mentioned, if we were able to fix your budget and were able to get you an additional 20 grand a month in revenue, and we were able to solve the third thing, and we were able to get you more time in the field, would you guys be able to fix that second issue? Yeah. Would that free you up to be able to handle that? Yeah, it would. Okay. Because I know that I can solve 1 and 3. I know that we have a solution for that. Number 2 isn't really what we do. I mean, I'm happy to help you guys find a solution, make some phone calls, look around. Actually, I know a guy in that industry that might have some answers. At the end of this, make sure that I get your email addresses. I'd love to connect you guys. But we don't do 2. We don't fix number 2. Is that okay? Are you guys still okay with us trying to see if we can find solutions for 1 and 3? Can I still resolve those for you today and fix those? Are you still going to be happy with getting 2 out of 3? And now you've sorted through and you're not making any false promises, but you also know now I can hammer on 1 and 3.
Right.
Those solutions back and forth, just hammer.
Right.
Is that important? Is that important to you guys to solve that first problem that you mentioned? Okay, so would it be good to solve number 3? And I'm just attributing numbers to them. You know, whenever you're in a sales situation, they'll give you actually what it is. They'll tell you what number 1 and number 3 are. Okay? And you may actually have a product that's going to solve all 3, and that is ideal. Because then we get to move forward and go, oh, actually, if I were able to do this, would that solve 1 for you? Yes, it would. If I were able to do this, would that solve 2 for you? Yes, it would. If I were able to do this, would that solve 3 for you? Yes, it would. Okay, great. If you agree that that's what you'd like to have accomplished today, I think I can move forward with the presentation. And finally, we get to coffee is for closers. Okay? So we're going to catch that coffee. We're going to revisit the Mayo at this point. All right? So we've done our presentation. We've gone through, we found the solutions. At this point is when you do your presentation. After you've asked the Magic Genie questions, you're going to do your presentation. Shouldn't take any more than 5 to 10 minutes.
I love this approach because I had no idea this, and since I do creative work, it's very, unlike a store where people buy a concrete object, there are a lot of people that love to just say, well, I'll think about it. And you know they're going to shop the idea for someone lower price.
Absolutely.
It's real
and we've already gotten the no out of the way. We've already gotten the yes out of the way. So now we're going to revisit it. We've done our presentation. And so now we're going to go and revisit the Mayo. All right. So Daniel, whenever we first started, you remember that I asked you whenever we get through the presentation, if it doesn't work, you were going to be able to tell me no, right?
Yes.
And if it does work, you were going to be able to say
yes.
Right? So now that we've gone there, I'm going to ask you something. On a scale from 1 to 10, 1 is that you hated the presentation and you'd like to beat me up in front of my kid. And 10 is you absolutely love it and wish I was here 6 months ago. Where are you guys at? And then you're going to let them put themselves in that frame. A 6 or below in Robert Johnson's world is a fail. I missed it. 60% or below.
I gotta meet him next Monday.
6 or below is a fail in his book.
Oh, okay.
If they tell you, you know, I'm on a scale from 1 to 10, I'm about a 5 at the moment. Hey, apparently I've missed something. I really thought that we solved, and again, now you said you wanted this solution, you wanted this solution, and I feel like
what's missing or
what have I missed?
Yeah.
Just help me here. What did I miss? Now, if it's a 7 or above, then I'm going to say, if I say, where are you at? If a 1 is you hated it, it was the worst presentation you've ever seen, you don't like me, you want to beat me up in front of my kid. And a 10 is absolutely loved it, it's the best thing I've ever seen. I wish you had been here 6 months ago. If they're a 7 or above, then I say, in my world, that's a yes.
Right.
So,
What do we do?
what do we do? What do you want me to do? And let them answer.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 2-question close.
Mm-hmm.
Revisit the mail. Hey, now remember, whenever we talked earlier, you said that you'd be able to tell me no if it was a no, right? And if it was a yes, and I was able to get you there, get there in the budget, get there, you said it'd be a yes, right? So on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being that you absolutely hated it, you'd like to rip all my shrubs out of my front of my house, you'd like to bury my car in a lake, and 10 is that you loved it, you wish that everybody was like me and that every product was this good. Where are you at on a scale from 1 to 10? And you let them put themselves there. A 6 or below is a fail. We ask them where we missed it. Where did I go wrong? Where did I miss it? Obviously I missed it. Just help me out. Let me know what it was. Because I'm going to get my stuff and I'm going to leave, and that's no problem. But just help me understand where I missed it. Because I want to grow. I want to get better, and I want to make sure that I don't waste anybody's time. So where can I get better? They will let you know. Okay? If it's a 7 or above, okay, well, hey, listen. You're at an 8. In my world, that's typically a yes. So what do you want me to do?
Do it. Let's do business.
Cool. So like you said, I'll wait for that check around the 15th. Great. I'll go ahead, I have a contract here. It's already written up. We can just sign it, and then I'll just wait for that payment to come around the 15th.
That it could be either, unfortunately. That's what I'm paying. That's what I'm paying full
I totally understand.
for getting some of these big deals.
Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Closing is the easiest part if you've done everything else right.
Well, I'm even hearing it as a lot of our strategy has been if we can get something that we do in the door, they realize the value, and then we explore it and do even more. And I'm almost seeing it as we shouldn't be stopping ourselves so short. We should be pushing for the big thing first, because the big thing is what actually solves the problems. The little things are to raise awareness of those problems so they understand how we do it. I'm rethinking literally everything I've done the last 6 months.
Well, definitely, I am sending all of these videos to Wes. He has all of these.
Great.
And so if you need these videos to revisit them, the PowerPoint presentations and the handouts, he has all of them.
Yes, he shared most of those with us as they've come up. If we've been here,
Good.
now. But yeah, because that in particular, that's the piece that I think that one of the guys who left our company and was really solid. I don't know that he was doing it in so many words, but it matches up with the tools that he was using.
The Magic Genie question I normally do in the first conversation.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you. It's been such a miracle worker for me that it's changed the way that I do business.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every time if I get a lead, before I get off the phone with them, I go, listen, let me ask you a crazy question. And if you don't have an answer just off the top of your head, I totally understand. But you called me today for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if you were to pretend that I were a magic genie and I could solve 3 problems for you right now, before we even got off the phone, what 3 solutions would we be able to come up with right now if I could just snap my fingers and make it happen like magic? And I'm not saying I can.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, let's pretend. What do you got for me?
Mm-hmm.
Now, they start playing out in their mind what their life would be like if those 3 solutions actually occurred right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're emotionally anchoring you to those 3 solutions anyway. And then it's up to you to be ethical enough, because you already set it up, to know that if you're not a fit and you can't provide those 3 solutions, you walk away. And you help them find a solution that will work. But if there's any way that you can help them get there and it falls in your wheelhouse and your products and services, then that is gold.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
It makes too much sense.
Good.
Again, I'm just like,
That's it, gentlemen. That's all 5 workshops.
Oh,
Yep.
I wish I hadn't missed the first one.
Well, they're on YouTube.
Okay.
They're on YouTube. If you hit me up, I'll send you a link to all 5 of them.
Yeah.